staring at me like that, I'm gonna think that he wants me to blow my nose on him. Because he is so jealous of the tissue box right now. And there's nothing I can do about it because, man, I need my tissues right now. So, I'm not even sure. Oops. Okay, I think I need to explain to her that, like, I had these chapters before. But that I can only go back and get, like, the redropped version of that chapter. Because she'd, like, edited it and resubmitted it for me to edit. So I've had to do this several times. This happens whenever you're helping somebody edit their work. They're like, oh my god, I made a change, I added something, or like I took something out. And you're like, no, don't take stuff out, just add to it. Just explain it, fill in the plot holes. Unless, and then you're like, no, this needs to come out because you're contradicting yourself. You're contradicting the reality of the world that you're building. And you can't do that. You can have characters contradict each other, in that, like, they have different opinions and stuff, but reality is not that flexible. You can, like, mess with people having different perceptions of it as characters, but you cannot have the same character go and, like, reference a conversation and then it's the opposite of what actually happened, unless you're writing someone who, does that, and that's not the case here, so... Like, yeah. Even a cough drop cannot save me. Wow. Okay, so, yeah. I don't think I can go back to the studio. First of all, they just pulled the thing where they're like, well, you can't, they're like making it my choice, but at the same time they're telling me not to come back. Like, officially it's my choice. Unofficially, they're telling me not to come back because she's there. And they refuse to even, like, try. All the things that they previously said they could try, there's no try here. And then one of them kept on saying, like, well, what about her side of the story? I'm like, I don't really care about her side of the story because she's so full of shit. That woman is poison. And she's just... I say, I would either start crying and shaking, which is actually basically what happened before. After, she dared to sit near me, like, she came in and sat near me. Like, this wasn't even, like, a sit on the other side of the room type deal. This was where she literally has no conscience. Not at all. And she acted like there was nothing wrong. The thing of it is that after pretending that she didn't know me, then she called me by name. A name even she never used. So, literally, she never called me Stephanie. She remembers enough of me, though, to remember the name she never used, and then play stupid at the name I've always used, which is Luna. It's hell getting my family to call me that, and, like, in school, it was really weird, because my teachers would be like, yeah, we're not going to call you that. I really hope she sent me 15, because I'm trying to tell her that 16 like came through, but all the chapters that she dropped me before that, because this was like edited later, like 15, 17, and 18 I don't have anymore, and I'm currently editing 14. So we're actually not that far ahead, and I'm trying to catch back up. Because, I was going through the transition to get to this studio, and years of hard work are just gone. Because, literally this woman's being there, my safety is not important here, and that's what I'm getting. But more than that, I'm also getting where this lady who's actually supposed to be assigned to me is like, it got to the point where I was like, I don't want to hear anything more out of you, because it was so condescending that she could even say that. It was like she had no soul in those moments. Like, so I had to like test her and like be like, if someone did this to you, would you be able to, with any amount of coping skills, sit across that table from them? Then why are you saying this to me? Because you couldn't work with this person if they did this to you. Why are you saying this to me? Why are you acting like I am less of a human being because I can't work with someone who did these horrible things to me? Like, shit. This woman is dangerous. And she's even more dangerous because she doesn't seem like it. He is really super jealous. He's so jelly. Lucky, you so jelly. The tissue box is not moving. It's staying where it is. No, he's been jealous of the tissue box. He's tried to usurp the tissue box and the tissue bag. Cause I've got a small bag that I'm like stuffing tissues in. And then I take it to the trash can and get another small. Hey! Don't you knock over my tea. No. I will spray you. He is mad. He is mad kitty. Honey, can you... I'm too short. Thank you. I love you, but you went too far.
Don't look at me. I'm not saving you.
So my cat is super jealous of the tissue box and all that. So he's acting like I'm cheating on him with the tissue box. I'm not sure whether to laugh or find this cute or what. Anyway, I'm not sure that I can go back to the studio because, like, I literally was only went there for 2 days before this all happened, and like, because I started on a weird day, and then okay, so technically there was a third day, but like I was just gotten there and like wasn't even really working on stuff yet. Like, I was still setting up whenever she came in. So there were 2 days that I was there, and the first day was a really weird day because it was like the last day. I started like on a Friday, and then we're like, and I guess they changed the hours for Fridays right after that. But then I came in that Monday and things were good. And then that Tuesday, I came in and I set up, and I had to wait for someone to move one of the staff stuff because she worked. They're usually artists too, and they work on stuff whenever we're not there. Because liability issues, I guess. They work on stuff whenever we're not there. So, yeah. Well, anyway, I've been there like 2 days. I barely even know the rules at this point, and I'm like still even adjusting. I'm like, hey, I haven't really learned when stuff is happening yet, so that I can just pull out my headphones on my own. There's no sort of system in place, like natural things that people do whenever, they sort of get a feel for you. They don't even have a feel for me yet. I barely have a feel for them. So, like, we're still in the getting to know you phase. Suddenly, whenever this stuff comes up, whenever I start bringing up things that maybe I could do, their whole thing is that they're just pissed off that I don't want to be in the room at the same time as her, so they're losing money for this. And I'm like, well, that's how you're gonna be. Maybe I shouldn't come in. But at first, I was fighting this. And then, my character started getting attacked. And my willingness to participate started getting attacked. And I'm like, that's funny, because at the previous studio, nobody would have said I had no willingness to participate. So I was participating. It's just like, I'm not real big on, like, group discussions. So, like, just come talk to me. Because if I'm comfortable, if with the people in the group and I've kind of been there for a little bit, I'll raise my hand and talk. But, like, if I'm new, this isn't gonna happen. So, apparently I'm antisocial and not engaging. Like, literally someone started to talk to me about it and then walked away and never came back. This doesn't look like an engaging problem with me. This looks like a consistency problem with staff. So naturally, I'm basically there because I want the classes about how to market my work and navigate certain channels of the art world. And, like, clearly I can't get this because I've basically been told that unofficially I'm not supposed to come back. Officially, this is my choice because they don't want to put it down in paperwork. And I've got this on recording where they're double talking and I'm asking questions and they're not wanting to answer. I'm like, I don't want to hear policy. I don't want to hear you redirecting this and trying to act like I'm asking something different. I asked you a yes or no question. The answer is yes or no. This is either what you're saying or it's not. And most of the time that was exactly what they were saying, but they didn't want to say that that's what they were saying. And one time it was no, and I'm like, okay, was that really that hard? Clarify these things. Although I suspect that they just said no because it was kind of a thoughtless and heartless thing to say. And it was also very wrong, but not that they know that. Keep in mind, like, I avoided this lady. The main lady. She's the same lady I avoided because one of the times that I was trying to get into the original program, she, I guess, had it with artists that day and said some things. And I've kind of kept it to myself, but whenever she was visiting the other studio, I also avoided her because I remembered who said this to me. I have a very good memory for voices. It does not matter if I've heard this voice over the phone or in person. So, I remembered her. Not the first time that that's happened to me. I actually made friends with someone where we were like, where have I met you before? And it turned out that I met her doing telemarketing. And we had like a decent little conversation there. And then we ended up meeting and like becoming friends later. Yeah. That was kind of weird as far as ways to meet people, but yeah. Anyway, I have a 99.9% accuracy on memory recall for everything that I hear. So, yeah. Get off. So, yeah, I have a 99.9% memory recall for everything I hear, and a 99.8. But it's like, then it's like 8, 9, something. So, memory recall for everything I see. So, I have a reasonably good memory. But I'm also the very opposite of tone deaf. So, yeah, made me really good at choir and a cappella in my younger days. Since the damage to my vocal cords, I'm not going to be seeing any concerts anytime soon. But I have managed to recover enough that I can sing and record some of my songs. Anyway, there's still some stuff I'm working on with that, and obviously I don't do that while I'm sick, because this would be bad. Ugh. Anyway. I guess I don't even know if I can go back even then, because they basically, like, in those 2 days, every little thing was like twisted around to be negative. Like, I guess somebody came up behind me and stood directly behind me while I had my headphones in playing music, and I didn't hear them, which was kind of the point. Because while where I was sitting gave me an open route to every entrance, which is what I need. It did not, there was still like people going behind me and stuff. So I needed to tune that out. So they stood directly behind me. You know, the place that I let Chris think that I have eyes, but I really don't. I have pretty good peripheral as far as range goes, but like I can like notice movement about here. So like where my ear is, like bring it forward just a little bit. I have decent peripheral. I won't be able to make it out, but I'll know that something's there. Typically speaking, if someone wants to get your attention, they don't walk up straight behind you. Even the most socially awkward person picks up on this and doesn't do this. Usually people come at you from the front if they can, or from the side if they can't. Or they'll like come up next to you before they try and talk to you if they have to come from behind. And if you have headphones in, it is a lot easier to notice from these angles as well. So apparently somebody tried to come up from behind me and talk to me with my headphones in, and now I am antisocial and not engaging, and this is what they're seeing in 2 days. And I'm like... And then I was told, well, there's all these rules for approaching you, and I'm like... They're not! They're very simple rules, and most of these things... They're like... Don't come up and like, pat me on the back. Tap me on the shoulder. That's okay. But I have, like, nerve damage in my back. And I also have PTSD. So, like, you're causing me 2 types of pain here. 2 types of problems. shouldn't say two types of pain. But yes, the memories hurt too. Let's not do that. That's pretty simple. Generally speaking though, the stuff that I do, these are things that could be with anyone, whether they have PTSD or not. This is someone's personal boundaries. They're really just bitching about it to try and make it sound worse than it is. Like, don't just... And I do appreciate if someone at least tries not to come up from behind me. At least until I know you well enough. And then, like, still tries not to. But, like, then if you have to, I guess it's not as bad if I'm comfortable with you. But, like, still, there's some things that'll never be okay. Like, don't, like, try to, like, surprise me from behind. That's bad. I don't like to be startled. Especially since being startled can lead to flashbacks. Startling is bad. So, I don't know. It's like, try to come at me from the front if possible. If not, come at me from the side. But also, this is like standard for whenever you're approaching people. You want them to see you, to know that you're trying to get their attention, and you cannot do this from behind them. And if you're in some place like an art studio where people have headphones in and this is okay, you don't approach them from behind at all. Because first of all, you can startle someone, even if they don't have PTSD. And they can, like, you know, jump and ruin what they're working on. There's also the part where if they have headphones and they don't hear you, you again want to be seen to get their attention. So, like, these are basic things, and I feel like this is getting turned on me. Like, I have all these rules, and I'm like, they're like, all these things you can't talk about, and I'm like, I've never said that. Typically speaking, I'm the person who gets reminded not to talk about these things. Like, I'm not afraid to talk about the hard subjects. I don't do small talk. I will talk about the heavy subjects. There are some things that, yes, I'll be like, I'm not comfortable with this. And I'll encourage other people to do the same thing whenever they're not comfortable. But no, there's not a bunch of taboo subjects that'll be like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. There's a handful. Like, don't ask me to describe what it was like to be raped. I guess, unless you're, like, working on a story and you're, like, approaching this respectfully. And you're just like, I'm trying to represent this in a way that is... Anybody who actually knows me knows that there aren't very many taboo subjects for me. And how would they even know this? Like, nobody's even really tried to talk to me. The only one who really did was an artist who already knew me. And, like, we were talking about stuff. She did something really cool with her art. Like, she went 3D level shit. Like, she actually brought in 3D glasses. She did it in red. Beautiful red flowers. She made them pop. Like, and then she realized, oh, red pops with 3D glasses. And then she, like, did more to make it, like, pop more as if these were 3D flowers. And I was so amazed by this. And I'm so mad that, like, I couldn't even get to tell her because I lost her number. And she wanted to collaborate with me, and I wanted to collaborate with her, and now we can't. Unless she can somehow get a hold of me. I hope she didn't lose my number. So, anyway. That's like a thing. We were gonna collaborate and do stuff, and then this. And I just... You know, I even brought up, you know, if this was such a big deal for them to just not be able to coordinate our schedules to just so that we're not there at the same time or something, to just put me on hold until she's gone. But they weren't going to do that either. And then, of course, my contact from the clinic that I go to was also involved in this because they wanted to involve her too. And then I was like, oh my god, this is... Like, she felt the need to reiterate, yeah, I think what they're basically... I know what they're saying. I want them to just come out and say it and not just be saying it with... I just want them to be blunt. And say what they mean, not talk around it. She's like, I think what they're saying is that there's absolutely no accommodation for this. It's funny, because before this there was. And then they basically decided, I guess, after talking to her, that she was more likable and charismatic and sociable. I can be very sociable, but like in a new environment, I'm also very quiet. I'm still like getting a feel for it, seeing what's acceptable and what's not there. I'm still like watching. And you know, you'll see that change as like if like I run into somebody that I actually know. So I'm like, oh, it's so great to see you, you know? I'm really happy that they're there, you know? Or, you know, you talk to me directly, you know? There were people who were talking to me about my art, and I'd take out my headphones and talk to them. But I've literally only had, like, one person, whenever I had my headphones in, who walked up to me and, like, waved from beyond my painting to, like, get my attention, and then I just took it out. This is not hard. I have hyper-awareness. This is not some sort of superpower, it is actually a symptom of PTSD. Where you are super aware of your surroundings because you've been through hell. So, part of you is always on guard. This is part of what I use the music for, so I can just get in the zone and paint. So, if I need to stop and do something, I would love it if someone would get my attention. But that's not gonna happen now because I don't even know if I can go, because apparently it doesn't take very much for them to turn on you. And I've only been there for like 2 days, and now that fragile little bit of neutral, I don't trust you, but you haven't given me a reason to distrust you either, is gone, and has gone into, yeah, now I just flat out will never trust you a day in my life. I have already been through what in peer support training they call, what do they call it again? There's specific wording for it, but it's basically whenever you've already been traumatized and then you go for help, and like where you go for help re-traumatizes you instead of helping you. I've already been through this. I've already been through so much stigma and so much crap, and I just don't want to go through anymore. And if I'm seeing that here, I'm obviously not going to go back. There was something that I said at the beginning where it kind of just, that first day I just wanted to go back to my old studio, and I felt like all the people that I'd been avoiding there, whenever they left, they came here and decided to work there. And like then the people that I'd actually wanted, maybe would like to work with, just went to a different studio that wasn't as advanced in the program. And like, so all the people that I don't want anything to do with are here. There's maybe one person there that I actually kind of like wouldn't mind working with, but he wasn't really given to me as a person, and I'm still not the center of attention type. you talk to my relatives, and they'll be like, oh yeah, she's totally the center of attention type. That's totally why she talks about the past. I've actually had that said to me. So, but no, I still don't like being center of attention. Anyone who actually knows me, who has taken the time, you have to also realize that most of my relatives that are alive, like, have had such minimal interaction with me. I've been so isolated from them that they don't know me, they only know what they have heard from someone who was, quite frankly, very malicious. My grandmother! So, they've also know what they've heard from the state, because state people talk to them. They've never actually taken the time to really get to know me and, like, not judged me ahead of time. So, and then, even then, there was no real time to get to know me. It was just, we've decided this about you. So now my other cat is jealous of the tissue bag. And she is just sitting next to it, though, and, like, Lucky, who is like, I'm gonna be on top of it. She's smart. And she's not trying to usurp the tissue box. Yeah. Okay. So my throat hurts. And, I mean, I had to re-record this several times, so it hurts a lot more than it did before, too. So I think my next video I'm just going to talk about something random, maybe from the fanfiction community or something. And if you know me, you can ask me where to find me there. I generally speaking leave a trail for people who know me personally. And I think there's only 1 or 2 people in the fanfiction community who actually know me as Luna. I keep things pretty separate, in large part because of what happened to me whenever I was 16. But also, I guess because of this one time, I tried to tell this lady that she was doing very well with her character development. I guess I wasn't the only one who was telling her, like, the same things, like, this Inquisitor is evil. She is. Like, you give her motivations and good character development, though, so it's, like, an understandable evil, but it's still evil. Like, she's still doing horrible, terrible things, whether it is understandable or not. And, like, she totally took this off in the left field. I guess she, like, decided to post it Tumblr. I'm like, well, even though I have a Tumblr, I'm not even going to go there. Like, this is just a bundle of bullshit I don't want a part of. So I'm like, well, I'm tired, so I'm not even going to argue these things with her anymore. But I'll say my piece. But she's, like, determined to have, like, the last word, and I can't just, like, not respond, because this is my personality. I cannot just not respond. So, I am that person. It's not that I'm trying to get the last word or anything. It's that, you know, her story is genuinely good, but her attitude is genuinely bad. So, like, she had all this stuff going in the story, and the story is really well thought out and really good. But for some reason, she is really offended by the notion that this character, the way that she is writing her, is evil. And then, you know, we're talking about different things, you know, because then she writes that Cullen was okay with this, and I'm like, this is okay, but in canon, here's some stuff. You know, and then this became, like, everything I say is a fight with this one. So I'm just like, you know what? And then in the last one, I was like, you know what? If you're having trouble with this, because she seemed to be struggling with it, this is how this goes. So I'm like, well, I still like your writing, so I'm still going to help you with it. At least, I'll give you information that, you know, maybe you'll find it helpful, I guess. Because I really like the story, but she's really a bitch. I didn't say that. You didn't hear me say that. My videos are untagged, so you kind of have to be looking for them to find them. And you have to kind of know who I am. Or know someone. So, you know, who knows who I am and where to find me and all that. So, generally speaking, this is my little corner of the internet where I'm vastly unnoticed. And I'm actually okay with that. I'm pretty comfortable with it, actually. Like, the only thing that gets weird is that sometimes Gene will watch one of my videos, and then he'll be like, yeah, and he'll talk about it. I'm like, I haven't even... Oh, okay. And then it'll still show no views. And then I'm like... Oh, yeah. That's the only thing that gets weird sometimes. But, typically speaking, I don't imagine a lot of people are seeing my videos, even if that's happening. Just because I don't tag my stuff. I don't really share most of it anywhere. Whenever I'm done, we get internet back, and I go back to my journal that I keep. It's technically also public, but I don't tag that either. There is a specific reason why I do it and record things that happen in my life. And, my thoughts and feelings on them and all that. Like, as stupid as it sounds, I read Harry Potter over a dozen times growing up. Like, I was a big Harry Potter fan. And it still holds that special place there, but I'm not, like, gung-ho. And now as an adult, like, as a kid I was like, oh my god, Dumbledore is so great. I was looking at Dumbledore with the same eyes Harry was. As an adult, though, I'm like, Dumbledore was fucking evil. Because, like, you really think about it. And you're like, oh my god, he knew this shit was happening, and he did absolutely shit about it. I mean, he even, like, facilitated this. This is not the actions of someone who's good. So, yeah, I mean, that's something I didn't think until I was an adult. Like, well into my adulthood. I never really thought about it as a kid. As a teenager, I was just so busy relating to Harry and, like, wishing for this magical world to just take me away from a world that quite frankly sucked. That I didn't realize that he was evil. I mean, I was relating to Harry and looking at Dumbledore about the same way that Harry did. You were emphasizing with Harry, Dumbledore was this wise old man, and he was, he had everyone's best interest at heart, and he was going to, like, save everyone, or, like, help you save, you didn't really realize or think about certain things. As an adult, though, I was like, I fucking hate Dumbledore. Because he took complete advantage of all the trust that was placed in him, and yeah. Let him?
I have to go get this done today.
Air kiss.
Air kiss.
I don't want to give you what's in my throat, honey. So I'm gonna end this now. What? Meow yourself. So, I guess, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna end this actually now. So, I think next time I'm just gonna talk about some stereotypes that, like, some kids today are starting to get wrong. And I'm not gonna start going into it because I will just keep on talking. Because that's me. I love you too, honey. You be safe. So, yeah. But I'm thinking next time I'll go into like common things that like young writers are doing, like the alpha male. You can actually kind of even tell whenever it's a female doing it versus a male, because the males, it's like females are obedient in this relationship, and that's not a relationship. But then with the females writing this and fantasizing about it, they're only really an alpha male whenever they are protecting them. Like they basically don't want an alpha male. They're fantasizing about someone who's protective of them. But they're like thinking that this is one thing and it's not, and and this is something I feel needs to be discussed, because kids today think that this is a good thing and it's really not. Like, there's some teenage girl out there who has no idea what she's even asking for. Like, she's fantasizing about this relationship, and she has no idea how bad it really is. And that any healthy relationship with someone involves them just not liking to see you hurt. And they will want to protect you and shield you from people who have hurt you. This is not an alpha male thing. This is just an I love you thing. Like, anyone who cares about you, friends, family, and yes, boyfriends and girlfriends, they will just not want you to be hurt anymore. So if they really love you, that's what it is. Now, they will not stop you from doing things that you love, and I mean, really, other than the fact that one writer in particular is writing about this, where the relationship moves way too fast to be healthy, if this was a healthy relationship. The rest of it is actually not bad. It's just that she's like idealizing all the wrong traits in the attitude she's writing with. The actual things happening aren't bad. But she's like idealizing that alpha male protect you type. And I'm like thinking to myself, sweetie, that doesn't exist. It's literally any healthy relationship ever. They don't need to be a possessive jerk. They just need to love you and to not want to see you hurt and to want to protect you. And it doesn't necessarily take a romantic relationship to do that. And I feel like her character development stagnates because this is all she writes. And that's really actually kind of sad, because her stuff is really good besides that. She's great at her world building. And like, she's really good at kind of connecting stuff in a way that like, it's good. But the character development needs some development. But anyway, I've run into this a lot with a lot of young writers, and I'm just starting to get into this anyway. So I guess I will attempt to remember that this is what I want to talk about next time. And not get sidetracked with something else, which can happen because life. So, anyway, it's something that I've seen a lot with young writers. Not just that writer, but a lot of young writers. And sometimes those of us who are a little bit older and who know what they're actually writing about sort of sit here and go, one day you will realize. Because we don't want to offend them and tell them that their writing's bad, because it's not. So, yeah.